So there's something over here I want to show you. It's just about crap. I just keep tripping over this box again and again. It's been here for like a year.
So yeah, I have to admit, I didn't tell you the whole truth of the situation a while back. I don't know if you remember Retro Resale number 3 about the Radio Shack Pocket computers. Well, I made it sound like that computer lot was its own solo thing, but truth is, the same guy who sold me that also simultaneously had a different listing for these TRS-80 Model 100s, and I bought those too. I paid $433 shipped. Like the other listing, these were disorganized, yellowed, and overall bad shape, but they were also astonishing in that there were a whole mess of computers, a disk drive, and a bunch of accessories. Clearly someone who didn't know what they were doing was just trying to dump it all. And hey, that's where I come in.
So I think it's taken me this long to open this box because it's just in hideous shape, and it's fragile, as the box tells us. So I'm afraid of seeing what the damage is. I cut the tape, and you are looking at this for the first time, right as I am. And yeah, it's it's as bad as I expected. Here's a Tandy Portable Disk Drive 2, $199 back in the day. Hopefully it's still worth that. That would be nice. And oh, we have a Tandy 600, and we have a Tandy 102, and we have another Tandy 102. It's a shade of yellow that's really impressive. It's like, it's almost done with yellow and starting to go green. And we have another one here, TRS-80 Model 100. Another one in a bag. Another one in a bag. Power brick. That's good. We need those. Holmes interface and Super ROM? I don't know. Super ROM. RAM expansion? That's a funky looking thing. A couple manuals. Tandy 102 owner manual. Oh good, we have the manual for the disk drive. And this looks nice and clean. I bet the bag has saved it from whatever made the others yellow and green. So that's nice. Oh, and the bag was sitting right on top of power adapter. I'm sure that was really great for it. So that is all. Goodbye box. Wow, look at this one. It's got this sort of, I don't know, latex cover. So we've got 3 102s here. We have 2 100s. This is a 100 as well. Just keeping it separate because it came in this bag, and it's also very nice. We have a Tandy 600. Unfortunately, we got the screen lines on this guy too. It's very yellowed. And we have a Tandy 200. Let's take a look at this disk drive. This is excellent condition. I don't know what, not good. I don't know what this is. It's like tar coming off of my fingers. I am somewhat impressed with the physical condition of these, considering how they were just packed and bouncing on top of each other. These apparently are pretty rugged little computers. Okay, next step is to remove any existing batteries, put in new batteries, and see if any of these things work. First one here has some pretty severe corrosion. Took the batteries out, and now we have some gunk to clean up. Okay, picked out the corrosion with a pair of tweezers, then scrubbed it down with alcohol and a toothbrush, and it really doesn't look too bad. So we will get some batteries in here. And unfortunately, no luck with this one. The low battery light flickers, but nothing comes on the screen. Okay, so the second 100 had no corrosion, so I put batteries in it, and I noticed it also has this under the little trap door. We'll have to figure out what this is. Sadly, no signs of life with this one either, so we're 0 for 2. Okay, third and final 100. This is the nice one. I'm really hoping this works. It would be such a shame if this one didn't work. It had no corrosion, so I put batteries in, and it has nothing in the expansion. So let's see what happens. Whoa, look at that. Ooh. Okay, so I've tried it several times, both with AC and not AC. It seems to work very intermittently, unfortunately. On to the 102s, and not a good start. And nothing in the expansion bay, which seems to be a little bit further right than these. So anyway, predictably, this one is not working. Okay, second 102, no corrosion, so I put in batteries. And it has a chip in the additional slot there. I'm guessing this is additional RAM as opposed to the other type of chip that we removed from the 100. Okay, fingers crossed. Whoa, we have what appears to be a working machine. So if you hit F8, I think twice, it takes you to the menu. It's a very simple interface. It's got basic text editor, terminal program, and an address book, and you use the arrow keys to go back and forth. So we'll pick the text editor here. File to edit, you give it a name. Uh-oh, I can tell some keys aren't working. I typed the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dogs on any computer I'm testing, because that has all the letters of the alphabet, and you can very quickly see that it's not succeeding in passing that test. Go to basic here. So this is basic, just like on a Commodore 64 or whatever. Too bad we have a bad keyboard. Ooh, we have the expanded RAM. So I think that RAM chip we saw was the expanded RAM. That's good news, at least. We've got keyboard with a problem, but at least we have expanded RAM. All right, on to the third 102, and we have good news and bad. Good is that it seems to work. Bad is that the keyboard is also faulty. This one has 21K, which I think is expanded, but it's not the 28K that the other one had. So anyway, there are the 4 applications. I forgot to mention if there are any like user programs or programs that you've written and saved, they appear here. So let's see what test.do is. Oh, actually, I think I did this myself. I tried to type the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dogs, and that's what I got. So yeah, very disappointing. Only 2 partially working out of 6. I was hoping for a better track record. And here's a view of the hideous looking batteries we got out of the 2 that were corroded. So we're on to the Tandy 200 and then the 600. These were not very successful successors to the 100 and 102 because they were more expensive, they're bigger, heavier, worse battery life. The 100 just had a great form factor, and although these were a little bit better, it just wasn't worth the money to get a bigger, heavier, clunkier device. No expansion in this one, and very odd makeshift battery cover. No corrosion at least, so we'll see what happens. Well, unfortunately, no signs of life with the 200. This might be a much shorter video than I planned. I like the arrow keys. All right, on to the Tandy 600, our last hope. It does seem to be fully expanded. 4 socketed, what appear to be RAM modules, and then we have one of these other chips, which I assume is a ROM of some kind. The 600 has a disk drive built in, which is very nice. I am worried, though, that this machine may not work because it has inside it, I've read, rechargeable batteries. Those aren't going to be in great shape at this point. Nice screen though, it's got like an 80 column screen. Even the 200 I think has double the height, but this has double the height and then 80 columns. And moment of truth. Nothing. We got nothing. Okay, so I opened it up, pretty simple, 5 screws. Yeah, the worst thing you can do with a computer that has batteries on the board is power it on and then not take the batteries out, because you're sending a surge of electricity and reawakening the bad batteries so that it could, you know, spew gunk onto the board and destroy it. Often people who list things on eBay, when they power test, they don't realize that they're actually destroying the computer. So they advertise a computer that powers on, but then you get it and it's destroyed because it has freshly leaked gunk everywhere. Anyway, that said, the batteries are here and they appear to be in very good shape. I don't see any leakage along here like you would usually get. So I'm gonna leave them intact and just let the next owner know that they're there. There's a fuse, appears to be good. capacitor has some issues going on, but I don't see leakage. This guy supposedly causes some problems, but I don't see anything there either. So interesting, we have 3 expansion slots. I guess this guy has some RAM, but it also looks like it connects to possibly the keyboard. I don't know. But pretty cool computer on the inside. I've been watching some videos, and interesting to note, this chip here can either be one of 2 things. It can be a program called Multiplan, which I assume is a spreadsheet, or it can be BASIC, because the 600 apparently does not have BASIC included like the predecessors did. You have to add it in a chip, so then you get to choose between Multiplan or BASIC. I don't know which chip this is. I looked it up briefly and did not find anything. But yeah, another reason the 600 was not so successful, I imagine, for it to be as expensive as it was and to not include BASIC. Something else I learned that's very odd about this machine, apparently if the battery is not alive, there is a cold boot sequence that you have to go through to power this on, so maybe there's hope. Okay, so this will be tricky one-handed, but holding down backspace, Alt, label, and power. Then you release power. Then you release the other keys. And we have nothing. Wow, so this has been a bust. I guess I'm probably showing you why you should not buy ASUS retro computers rather than getting you excited about the possibilities, but it is what it is. We're going to have a bad one, a bad lot now and then. 2 out of, what, 8 computers sort of working. But we're still going to sell these as is and broken, and, you know, we're not going to come up completely empty-handed. So I made a positive discovery here. Turns out the numlock key and the caps lock, they're very easy to have on and not notice. And so when I was testing the keyboards on these 2 that are partially working, I did not notice that the numlock key was in. So here's the initial Quick Brown Fox line, and here is the improved one with numlock turned off. So as you can see, we still have an E and an R that are bad and might need some work, but the keyboards are perhaps not as bad as initially expected. So what are these, you ask? I went digging into my collection, and it turns out I have 2 100s. I bought them at some point, I guess, and just kind of forgot they were there. Never really learned how to use them. Good and bad news. This guy does not power on at all, but this one seems to be fully working. And look at that, the full Quick Brown Fox. It definitely works. So this seems to be a good computer. Go into BASIC there. We'll do the old 10 print hello. You can see how slow this computer is. But regardless, it's a working device. So I installed the Super ROM, and as you can see on it, it says call 63012. So I powered it on, and I wondered, what could call 63012 mean? So I went into BASIC, and I typed call 63012, and look at this. You go right into the program. Yeah, I think it's a spreadsheet, an additional spreadsheet program that you add in there. And oh, look at that. Now it says Super. So I have apparently added an application. Okay, so the other ROM chip is the same thing, although I think it's a different version. It looks a little different when you go into Lucid. So I wanted to open up one of the corroded 100s just to see what was going on, if there was anything I could easily clean up. And in fact, it does look a little dirty in there. Probably beyond my skill level though, so I'll just leave all of this for the next person who's probably very used to seeing that. It did solve the question of the RAM though. It appears the RAM is internal to expand, and it's got an empty slot there. So I think this one had 28K, so that would explain it. Take these 2 out and you probably are left with 4. And yeah, a lot going on this board, and I'll put it back together. Okay, so what is this, you might be asking? Well, I'm learning more and more watching videos as we go here, And it turns out that Kyocera made these for Radio Shack. Apparently Radio Shack didn't make much. They just outsourced the production to other companies. I learned that with the Pocket computers. But Kyocera made these guys. And apparently they also made the Olivetti M10 for Olivetti. And I had this one too, but also hadn't tested it. And look at this. Does that look familiar? It's the same thing. It has 21K instead of 28, but it's basically the same deal. Basic text, telecom, address, scheduler. This has a very nice keyboard. Comparable, really. Maybe a little bit clickier, but this is a beautiful machine. These are famous. They were really, really popular in Italy. Oh, look at one cool feature of this guy. Look at that. One of the main complaints with this, and the reason to get like a 200 or 600, is that it's uncomfortable to have the screen flat against the keyboard. But the Olivetti solves that problem. Very, very nice. And look at this one. This one's called the Work Slate. Power it on. Type your first name, then press Do It. Yes, this has a Do It button. And a really cool trackpad there. Put in my name. Do it. Yeah, and then we've got a spreadsheet. It's got all kinds of other programs too. And it's got a micro cassette. It's locked right now. It doesn't want me opening it. But micro cassette for storage. Really cool little thing. Okay, so what are these now, you might ask? Well, this is a Dreamwriter, NTS Dreamwriter 325. Nice and slim. This is a T100, a little chunkier. But I'm showing these because it's clear they're the same form factor, really. Graphical, they show the apps as graphics, you know, edit text, file, communicate. Ooh, look at that. You can connect a modem. Others, 5. System preferences. I assume basic is somewhere in there. But you get the idea. It's just the same thing. And even on the underside, you know, you can put in a chip here. These use, you know, the round batteries. And then here we have another one. We have the Laser PC5. Laser is a toy company that sometimes made actual computers. They kind of blur that line, but again, same concept. Little trapdoors and expansion. In my opinion, none of these, keyboard-wise at least, compare to the 100, the 102. Apparently those sold, the 100 at least, sold 6 million units. That is incredible. 6 million units. It just shows what a functional form factor the 100 is. And it makes sense that these others would come out and try to copy it. And it's a shocking difference from the Pocket computers that I reviewed earlier, because those are not functional. Those are not functional at all. You have one line of text, these horrible little calculator buttons, that calculator keys that barely work at all. Whereas, you know, the Tandys, the Radio Shack 100, 102, impressive keys. I mean, keys good enough to just sit there and type all day long. You want to type on those things.
I'll tell you a little known fact. The real reason that Tandy's sold 6 million devices is that Isaac Asimov was in their advertising. Everyone back then wanted to be just like Isaac Asimov. I mean, who wouldn't? Actually, didn't Asimov use mostly typewriters and never transition to computers? I thought I read that somewhere. Anyway.
So finally we get to something like this. The evolution of what we've been talking about. Something like the Tandy 1400 HD. It's got a floppy drive and a hard drive. Same nice keyboard. But it's also got an Intel processor that is much more capable. And it's got MS-DOS, which is a much more robust and well-adopted operating system that means the end, essentially, of the class of computers we've been talking about. It was fun while it lasted, but eventually we got to the modern PC.
Okay, so enough trying to learn stuff. What's this pile of broken crap worth? Well, cost is $433 shipped. Keep in mind I haven't sold any of this yet, so this is all estimated. I figure selling the 100s and 102s in batches makes sense. Someone who wants one dead is likely piecing these together and would want all three. Plus, selling bulk makes my life simpler. The 100s and 102s very reliably seem to go for at least $50 each in as-is condition, so that makes sense for the 100s. Two of the 102s are somewhat working, so I'll add another $50 for those. It makes me cringe seeing the working prices for all these, $150 and up, which of course is almost triple, and that would be nice, but oh well. With the 200, I only found one dead for about $100, so we'll do that. Working ones seem to be about $250. And then there's the 600, which is strange. I literally could not find one on eBay, unsold or sold. And in a couple of videos I watched, people mentioned buying as-is ones for $250 like many years ago, which they should have been cheaper then. So we might have some actual money on our hands with the 600, but to stay conservative about it, I'll say $150. The disk drive is all over the place, $50 to $150, and with the box and accessories, I'm very confident it will go for $100 at least. So total potential profit after cost is $267, and that's a very low estimate, could easily go way more. And I've got several AC adapters still, and cases, a bag, expansion chips, and various accessories that could drive the prices higher still. So overall, that's not too bad considering I didn't fix one thing, and it's basically just a flip, just, you know, cleaning things up and listing it better. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I hope you learned something. I certainly did, and I'll see you next time.
So I bet you thought I forgot about the floppy drive, huh? Well, no I didn't. I got it set up. Basically just that cable we saw before. It needs a 102 or newer. It won't work on the 100 apparently. Very interesting mechanism on this drive. You press eject, this thing pops up. Here's the head vibration protector. But yeah, I know it's on, not because there's a light, but because when you power it on, it just makes a very subtle sound. And it came with a utility disc, which I guess has some good stuff on there. So you just close that and it's in. I wish it made, you know, louder noises or had reassuring lights. But anyway, so yeah, it's connected on. Reset this guy, and there is no floppy line item on here. And so that is because the file management software is not installed. You have to set up the file management software, and then you see something that says floppy apparently, and then you can, you know, select floppy and then select load, and then you're on your way. But the problem is you have to type in this little program in order to initiate the floppy management software that will let you access the drive. And both the 102s, as we saw earlier, have bad keyboards. So you're supposed to go into basic here and type 10 run. Oh wait, well the 10 works, 10 run, and then quotation, but quotation does not work. So we are dead in the water. We don't have a computer that would take the program that is necessary to install the file management software that would allow us to utilize this drive. So I will just sell the drive, I assume, as is, because I'm not entirely confident it's working, but it does seem to. It does make that subtle noise. So anyway, I tried. Not much I could do. Sorry.